Here we are, folks, with TJ Robinson from the Fresh Pressed Olive Oil Club. Welcome to the show, TJ. It's so nice to have you here today.
Such a pleasure. Thank you so much. It's you guys supporting our mission and helping us get the word out about the power of fresh pressed olive oil, and how to identify great olive oil means the world to me. So thank you.
Since I was a small child, I've been a foodie, and I'm of Mediterranean descent. So extra virgin olive oil has always been near and dear to my heart. And food as medicine has always been, it's just been like a constant in my life, even when I was selling advertising. Back in my last career, in the last world, there's so many of the solutions to health challenges can be found in nature. And I think we're seeing that over and over again. If we even look at regenerative medicine right now, some of the most powerful interventions are coming right out of Mother Nature's playbook, like whether it's bioregulator peptides or exosomes or stem cells. And actually you'll love this. I recently released a podcast episode with someone who's bringing to market, and this product is from Italy. These are plant exosomes.
Oh, so cool.
Right? So what they've done is they've been able to extract exosomes from organic fruits and vegetables in Italy. Actually, I think they're fruits. And what the plant exosome contains is all those polyphenols and all those micronutrients that we're always trying to get from our vitamins. But now you're getting them in Mother Nature's little package, unadulterated. And I just think that's so fascinating and so powerful. And so with extra virgin olive oil, I'm really looking forward to this conversation, because I think there's a lot of confusion around it.
Absolutely. As the buzz, all these people are removing seed oils from their diet. They're trying to hear polyphenols. How do I get more of that in my diet? Olive oil. It's like this, like people are rediscovering it. We've known this for thousands of years, right? But of course, people are rediscovering it. As more people jump on the bandwagon, so do more fraudsters jump on the bandwagon. So they see a big opportunity. In Italy, it's known as the agri mafia. In the US, 60 Minutes did a segment showing how they counterfeit the olive oil. And so we're going to debunk a lot of myths today. We're going to really educate, because all this is really created this environment for a lot of low quality, bulk, commodity style olive oil. And there's a whole nother world out there called artisanal olive oil. And that's what we're focused on today, is really talking about the differences between commodity versus artisanal. And so that's where we really want to educate your folks, your followers, who really are looking for the very best, to whether they're taking those supplements that you're talking about. When you take those with a high quality fat, it becomes a delivery system that helps get those nutrients into your system. So olive oil, just eating a plain salad, plain lettuce versus dressed with a super high quality extra virgin olive oil, you get so much more of nutrition out of that salad. So, add a little black pepper, that fuels it too. It's like there are these little biohacks, and I feel like, so many biohacks these days are like way out of left field. Like not that I'm against cold plunge, but I've tried it. But I would rather drizzle a little amazing olive oil on my salad than get in a, tub of ice. So that's just me. But if anybody else is out there, like looking for simple, back to the basic things that really make a huge impact. So again, thank you for helping me educate on this topic.
My pleasure. The other thing we think is fresh pressed extra virgin olive oil comes from Italy. That's what we think. And yet there are orchards all over the world growing olive oil. Like the Mediterranean is not one country.
Absolutely.
But what got you into this?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up. So 2 points. One, I was a professional chef. I worked for the Food Network for many years. I lived and worked in New York City for about 10 years. And I was working for the Today Show, and I got sent on a press trip to Sicily. And I was invited to hang out with some Sicilians for the day. And they said, we're going to harvest olives. It was in the fall. Olives are a fruit. fruit. They're harvested one time a year. There are all these microclimates all over the world in different regions. In Italy alone, they have 550 olive varieties. So think of that as equate that to apples. Like Americans, we know clearly the difference between a Granny Smith and a Golden Delicious, right? So we can identify. But I'm a Southern boy. I'm from Asheville, North Carolina. I grew up in the mountains. Like I know the difference between apple juice that I buy in the grocery store that's been pasteurized versus like going to the mill in the fall and being right there at the cider press and drinking fresh pressed apple cider. Well, that's exactly what happened to me in Sicily. So I hung out with this family. They taught me about the different olive trees and varieties. They had 4 varieties in their grove. I didn't even know I thought olive oil was olive oil at that time. This is going back 20 years ago. We worked all day picking the fruits, really hard to get off the tree. They told me if you want good olive oil with health benefits, you got to get the green stuff. We didn't know a lot about the science of olive oil back then. We can talk more about that later in this episode. But, we learned that like this green fruit had more flavor and more health benefits. And I learned, it was harder to get off the tree. And I learned there's not much oil inside of green fruit. So, farmers usually let the fruit hang on the tree longer. So anyway, long story short, we picked fruit all day in the small bins, a lot of hard work. I wasn't really expecting that kind of workout. Luckily, I was in my 20s back then. And then we loaded up in the back of this Fiat Pondo, which is kind of like a Volkswagen
Tiny
Bug.
little car.
Yeah, you know it. They're all-wheel drive. They use them all over farms. They're gorgeous machines in Italy. And then we drive off to the mill. And this is a community event. So everybody's bringing their olives from their family groves. This is on a weekend when all the cousins can come and help us, and we wait in line, we put our name on the bin, and so when it's our turn, Matteo, the guy, the family member that I was working with, he gave me a cup as we stepped up to the press, and out of the press flowed this green, like it looked like wheatgrass that was in my cup. And I put my nose to that glass and I said, I'm pissed. I said, I didn't know anything like this existed. I had no idea this is olive oil. That crap that I've been consuming in America. We were the dumping ground for bad olive oil in America for a long time. Things have improved a lot over the last 20 years, but still there are problems in olive oil. But the moment I tasted this olive oil and the aromas and the flavors, I could feel this amazing power of this. And it really pissed me off and motivated me to get this powerful elixir back to my friends and chef friends at that time, in New York. And they were like, so that's really what started it. Like I went to a grove, I discovered what real olive oil is, and I was destined to get it to America. So I put it on, I was the first person to put it on an airplane from Sicily to New York City. I sent it to all my chef friends. They flipped out about it. Eventually they ran out pretty quickly, actually. And they're like, how do I get more of this? So the immigrants who made it to the New World, these were the Spaniards who took it to California and called it the Mission olive. These are Spaniards who went to Argentina and Chile. They planted for religious, for their cultural heritage, for food, for their medicine. They were taking these plants and they were hiding little olive tree cuttings in their neckties when they boarded the boats for the New World. They knew the Mediterranean climate was the opposite in the Southern Hemisphere. So these families took it to Chile. They took it. Largest Greek population outside of Greece is in Melbourne, Australia. They have a lot of olives there, Greek families who took these olive cuttings. And so they've got their family heritage, medicine, culture, it flows in their veins in the Mediterranean olive oil, in the New World. So I started shopping the New World because it's an opposite season of the Mediterranean. So I learned I could get fresh olive oil multiple times a year shopping the global harvest. So that's what I've been doing for the last 20 years.
That's amazing. So you keep talking about fresh.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about how long would be considered fresh, because I would guess that if you go to your local grocery store and you grab a bottle, he's making a face. Okay. And you just grab a bottle of olive oil, often it's in plastic,
yes.
which is sad. Or we've got the hex sign up. You said you went to the mill. where they press the olives. How much heat is generated in that? Is that like a cold press? Is that because we talk, and we're going to talk about the effect of heat on olive oil and on the beneficial compounds in olive oil. But
absolutely.
How much heat do they generate?
So you really want to start with cool fruit. You don't want, so the best olive oil is harvested earlier in the day. So you have people that really care about the temperature of the fruit, because so let's talk a little bit. What is milling? How is that? When you say press, and we focus on all cold pressed, all extra virgin, but I'm going to explain the process. So you harvest the fruit from the tree, which is banging it, shaking it using electric comb rakes, or shakers. And you fill these bins, that look like fruit bins with olive oil or with olive fruit. Sorry. You then, immediately, as quickly as you can, get that to your mill. Hopefully that's on your property. The producers I work with, they own their own mill, so they have complete control of every step of the process. So they're able to time everything. So after that, the fruit goes through a washer, a destemmer, first really a destemmer, take the leaves, that sort of thing, any twigs, that sort of thing away. And then the fruit is washed, simply through a washer and just with water. And then the next stage is what we call the crusher. So think of the crusher as a food processor. And it's really all it is. It's an industrial food processor. It chops all the pits, the complete olive. It looks like a tapenade or an olive paste. And then that flows into something called the malaxer. The malaxer, think of as like a mixer. Like a mixer, just basic, like with a bread hook. So it sits there and spins the paste. And this paste sometimes, or typically the mixing bowl is double walled, so they can add heat underneath if they need to try to extract more oil. Now, my producers, because they're looking for ultimate aroma, antioxidants, polyphenols, they actually put cold water beneath there, and so that creates cold yeah. So it's just it's a purely mechanical process. So there's no, and depending on the weather, if it's cold, you don't need to add cool. But different regions have different, things. Like in Spain, where it's very hot, they even have chilled parts of every step of the process. So, all right, but let's stick with the process. So it's washed, it is chopped or crushed, and then is malaxed. And this malaxing just sits around in this mixer for about 30 minutes. And then the next step is a separation, which is this paste gets separated by a centrifuge into 3 parts: solid, water, and oil. Extra virgin olive oil. And that's really it. So and depending on the level of ripeness in the fruit, you get more olive oil. So the olive oil I shoot for is around 10%. So this is when the fruit is hyper green. You get a lot of polyphenols, you get a lot of chlorophyll, you get a lot of antioxidants and flavor in the oil when it's really low. If you leave that same fruit hanging on the tree from, let's say, an extra month, it will go from green to black, but you'll get 20% oil or more. So if you're selling your oil by the liter on the commodity market, which is 98% of olive oil producers, they're incentivized to let the fruit ripen, lower polyphenols, lower antioxidants, lower health benefits until, someone crazy like me comes along to say, hey, I want you to harvest it early. I know it's hard to get off the tree. I know it's going to be low yield. I'm going to pay you for the oil quality, and I want the best of the best. So that's how the oil is made.
So that's really interesting because, in my culture, we have these sun-dried black olives. So I've never met an olive I didn't like.
Me too. I'm with you.
Just to be clear, I'm a full-on freak for olives.
Me too.
So then that little black crinkly olive would be, and you find it more in places like Morocco.
Yes.
Right.
Turkey,
so that would be
Morocco.
A green olive that's just been allowed to ripen longer on the tree.
Exactly. And do you feel how much oil is inside that when you consume it versus, let's say, a green table olive that you would get off your olive bar? Like that feels more like an olive. I mean, less oily,
it's less oily.
Yes.
And it's also not as bitter. So the black one is more bitter. And I once got really excited because I go to this little Italian grocery store.
Yes.
And they had bushels of olives. I'm
Mm.
like, oh my God, this is so cool. I'm going to buy olives and I'm going to go home and I'm going to figure out how to cure them myself.
It's a lot of work.
It was awful.
It's a lot of work. Yes, it's a salt, it's a brine, and some olive varieties are used for both. So a lot of olive varieties are used only for brining and pickling, that sort of thing, like for eating olives, table olives. And then some are used predominantly for olive oil because they have a higher level of oil content. Some are used for both. And some of my favorite olive oils in the world are made from table olives because the olive oil has a lot of flavor in them, and a very low yield. So yeah, yield is a big thing. And when you say, well, why is olive oil more expensive? Why is high quality olive oil more expensive? So the things we've learned are it's picked really green, which is hard to get off the tree. And 2, it's got about half as much olive oil in it. So I have to pick 10 times the amount of fruit inside a bottle versus 20 times the amount of fruit, depending, it just really depends on the yield of how much oil is inside that fruit. And so that makes a huge difference. And the science of olive oil, which is, I think one of the things you wanted to talk about, is the science has been catching up with olive oil over the last 20 years. Since I started, they've identified all these compounds. There was a scientist who was traveling to Sicily, much like I did, and tasted olive oil that tickled the back of his throat. He was actually a scientist who studied ibuprofen. So he identified a compound that's very much akin to ibuprofen, which is, a naturally occurring in high quality extra virgin fresh olive oil. So these other things about these polyphenols, antioxidants, they deplete over time. So one of your questions was how long is olive oil really good for? So light, time, oxygen, heat really are the 4 main enemies of olive oil. So when that's why you buy in a dark bottle, because light, olive oil is photosensitive. You don't want to buy in a plastic bottle because flatolites and other chemicals that are in olive oil in plastic seep into the bottle as it sits there. So there's one fancy one now that's a squeeze bottle and you do it over your stove where the oil, the plastic bottle gets hot and you're like, acting like a chef, but don't buy olive oil in a plastic bottle for health benefits. So light we've talked about, dark bottles important, looking at expiration date, was one of the things you mentioned. Olive oil, when it's put in the bottle, is actually when it's dated. So when you look in the supermarket, it actually has nothing to do with the harvest date. So you always want to look and identify a harvest date. So, this is Chilean harvest season 2025. It's very clear. It doesn't say, about when it expires. So that's very important. But this science of olive oil has been really in a lot of investing is done in olive health benefits and olive culture to boost the economies in the European Union and in other places. You've got major universities in Greece, you've got major universities in Spain and Italy that are constantly studying the compounds and health benefits of olive oil. And these antioxidants deplete by about 50% in 6 months. That's the number. So, and the higher quality of olive oil you start with, the more antioxidants are inside itself and it actually protects itself. So my quality olive oil, look, I mark it out. It's, best before I say used by 1 year, essentially from the day I deliver it. I say 1 year, that's great. Now people who are members of my club, so I travel around the world. I'm the single link in the chain between the artisanal producer. This is the small family in Calabria or the small family in Melbourne, Australia that I work with. I'm there on the ground. I pick the fruit with them. I am supervising every part of the process. These guys are amazing, talented millers, and then we fly it by jet to America. So we get the oil as quickly as possible from grove to table, and then we try to consume it. Your goal is to use a bottle a month, because that's what I'm sending you. So you want to consume, to get the health benefits of these olive oils, a couple tablespoons a day. In Greece, they consume like 26 liters per year per capita. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. It's insane. So, and people use olive oil for, fat fasting. They use it for high levels of satiety to keep them fuller longer. They use it to manage, to help with their brain health, gut health. You're the health expert, but you basically name it. There's skin, beauty. People use olive oil. And that's from the inside, right? It's not. Yeah. So you want to keep high quality fats in your diet to keep your oxidative stress down inside your body. So it is one of these products that you can use very holistically to become the backbone of your healthy cooking and simplicity in cooking as well.
For sure. So, I once talked to a guy from Greece who was he brings in olive oil.
Awesome.
And he had said to me, if you're spending less than and this was years ago, but he was saying, if you're spending less than $25 a liter on your olive oil, it's not just olive oil. It may have olive oil in it, maybe, but it's been cut with something. And what he said, and I think I've read this subsequently, is that the world supply is not enough to meet the world's demand right now. Even now, right?
For sure.
So to some degree, like these agro mafias that you referred to earlier have not only have they evolved out of greed, but they've also evolved out of this kind of, okay, well, we don't have enough to go around. So how can we make it that we can still supply? So it's a very interesting thing. But so you've answered the question. You said that oxygen was the enemy of the, again, it's about the polyphenols and all the nutrients in the olive oil. Once I've opened my olive oil, let's say, is it a 1 month life, or is it still 6 months? It's going to lose stuff along the way, I guess.
So my club members, so they get in a rhythm. Okay. So they join my club. And so just to speak a little bit about the producers I work with. So in Italy or all over the world, there's a guide called the Flow Soleil Olive Oil Guide. It ranks the top 500 producers in the world. Every year they do a selection of, these are the top 20 producers in the world. So they're really surveying all the world's best producers. These are people who know how to care for their trees. They manage everything about the tree, because great olive oil is made on the tree, not in the mill. So they respect the plants. They respect the amount of water the plants get as much as possible. Mother Nature, I always say, owns 51% of the company, but we try to minimize the amount of the water inside the olives, because then it doesn't wash away the polyphenols during the milling process.
That's so interesting.
So we really manage the fruit. We manage the variety that we're selecting. And the goal is to produce an olive oil that has these hallmark qualities that we'll talk about in the tasting. But the goal is to win one of these top 20 awards. And most of my producers, all of these oils that we'll be tasting today are from top 20 award winners. So we're really talking about the top of the top. So I've built relationship with these top producers over the last 20 years. They do special stuff for my club because they know I'm flying it in by jet. They know I'm getting it with a pressing report that shows them and talks about them and their family and all that. Like they really, they really appreciate it. Right. So it's like someone who respects food, who shows up to your house. You're cooking differently for that person, right? Because you know that they have high standards and they're going to appreciate it. Well, they're that way with me and my club members. So my club members get 3 bottles of oil a quarter. They get a mild, a medium, and bold, along with tasting notes on how to use them, what dishes, all that sort of thing, like how to pair them. And the goal of the club member is to use a bottle a month. Really, that's very easy to do. You put a bottle of this on the table when you set your table with salt and pepper. and you put something simple on the table, whether it's grilled chicken or whether it's steamed broccoli or steamed green beans, and a good thing of salt on the table that's health promoting salt, like a Redmond's Real or a Fleur de Sel or some good salt. But salt and olive oil and whatever other ingredient, it's all you need. You just start drizzling it. Yeah, squeeze a lemon, even better. My wife, actually, Megan, who you know, she puts her lemon in the freezer, the whole lemon, and we zest it, the whole lemon, peel and all. There's so many great health benefits in lemon peel. Lemon peel and olive oil, oh, it's just like heaven.
It's a superfood. When I talk about blood sugar, a lot of people tune out because they think it's only relevant to people with type 2 diabetes. But blood sugar is a topic everybody needs to understand. One of the big keys to optimal health and aging well is to having balanced blood sugar. Here's a surprising fact. Research shows that even healthy people have wild swings in their blood sugar after eating. That's not the worst of it. Those spikes in blood sugar force your pancreas to work harder and are associated over time with things like weight gain and even risk of heart attack and stroke. Here's the reason I even bring this up. My friends at Bioptimizers have created a blood sugar optimization product called Berberine Breakthrough. And I don't think I'm overstating my case when I say it's revolutionary. Simply take 2 capsules 15 minutes before a meal, and your body will push carbs and glucose into your muscles to be used as fuel instead of turning them into fat. As a result, you'll enjoy more stable energy without the post-meal crash. Plus, you'll have better workouts, faster gains in the gym, and an easier time leaning out. But perhaps the biggest benefit of all is that it will improve your overall health. To get yours, head over to bioptimizers.com/bionat and enter the code BIONAT to get 10% off your order. And one thing I'll say to people, if you're listening to this, if you're not able to find organic lemons, one thing that I do with my lemons, especially if I'm going to use the zest, is I throw them into boiling water for 1 minute. So I just blanch them quickly. It might cost me a little bit on the nutritional value, but what it does is it dissolves, it removes the wax and any of the pesticides and nastiness on the outside. So it's just fantastic. The problem is when you sometimes, like me, get distracted, you forget, you come back and you've got cooked lemons.
Well, it happens. It happens.
But I think that, but you know what's amazing? Like I had people up at my cottage a couple weekends ago and they were like, wow, these vegetables are so amazing. What did you do to them? And I'm like, and I tell them, and not much, right? Much. Like I've either roasted or steamed, and I want to get to heating olive oil next, actually.
Yes,
so let's
love
bookmark that.
Love it.
And then put, to your point, good salt. And then my favorite is lemon zest or just lemon.
Yes, 1,000%.
And they're like, that's it. Like it's good, but it's so easy. And so, one of the cool things about using an ingredient like quality olive oil is it simplifies your cooking. It makes eating healthy easier. And
1,000%.
Right? And the other health thing I wanted to say about the oil. Now, you guys, if you're really interested in deep diving in the health benefits of olive oil, don't forget that extra virgin olive oil is not only antioxidant, but it can also trigger autophagy. It turns on the sirtuin genes, which are longevity genes. And then the other really interesting thing that you alluded to, and I'm going to dig into, is that there's some evidence that it helps to activate your own GLP-1 release in your gut. And we all know GLP-1s. Everybody's crazy for GLP-1.
Yes.
Right? I know. So I just think that's really an interesting point to make. But okay, so let's go back to how do we use olive oil? Because when I was in nutrition school, and I've kind of always known this anyway, just from growing up as a Mediterranean person.
Yes.
We don't fry in high quality olive oil. Now, in school, they had taught us that if you did want to heat your olive oil, now you would still never use it at high temperature, but if you wanted to heat it, if you chopped onion or garlic into it, or some of the aromatic herbs, like rosemary, thyme, like those aromatic herbs that have quite a lot of also polyphenols, antioxidants, and stuff like that, it would actually have a protective effect on the olive oil.
Oh,
So
that's so interesting, actually, because when you heat extra virgin olive oil, specifically high quality, ultra premium, which is the category we're talking about here, it has high levels of antioxidants in it, which keeps it from breaking down when being heated. So I have a couple quick tricks. So yes, you can cook with olive oil and should cook with olive oil. You can even rub your meats with olive oil if you are a grill person and you like to grill. We know that's not great for our health, but if you like to grill, rub your meats or rub your veggies with a little olive oil before you put them on the grill. That protects them. Also, like warm your pan empty. So if I'm going to make my eggs in the morning, I put my pan on the stove, like medium low heat. I let the pan get nice and hot. I have my eggs ready to go. I have my olive oil ready to go. And what do? Once the pan's really hot, ready to go, medium low, medium low, throw in my olive oil, little drizzle in my pan, move it around. 2 seconds, literally 2 seconds. And then I put my fried eggs in. I just plop my eggs in. And see, what I didn't do there is let my olive oil sit in a hot pan for a minute while I run around the kitchen trying to find my eggs and it starts smoking. I don't want, olive oil high quality extra virgin olive oil, smoke point's actually pretty high. It's over 400. And I use it in baking. It's amazing in baking. You make zucchini bread or banana bread with fresh pressed olive oil or chocolate brownies. And you're going to be like, whoa, why have I been using unflavored or crappy seed oils in my baking? So yes, you can use it for cooking. Yes, use it in your baking. I'm an ex-chef, as we talked about, and I consider olive oil, this quality level of olive oil, to be a sauce that Mother Nature made for you. Consider these sauces. So consider yourself a French chef in your kitchen. You've got 3 sauces, a mild, a medium, and bold, and you leverage those however you like. If you pull some grilled chicken out of the pan or some grilled veggies out of the pan, just before you serve them, drizzle them and coat them in a little fresh pressed olive oil and a little good seasoning, salt, whatever you like, and then serve them. You're going to find the flavor that comes out of that very simply roasted or very simply steamed dish, whether it's steamed haricots verts from Trader Joe's that we just steam and then put on a plate with olive oil, salt, and pepper and serve them. And people are like, these are the best green beans I've ever tasted. Yeah. You're like, it's very simple. It's very good quality olive oil, very good salt, and some simple green beans. Like, keep it simple, folks. And people talk about the Mediterranean diet and, they want the benefits. Well, they also didn't realize that the olive oil we've been getting in America, most of it's low quality. So if you see an olive oil that has multiple countries of origin on it or no harvest date, that's a sign it's got no love, no care in the bottle. So we don't have a lot of time yet left. I want to be sure to do this tasting real quick with you, Natalie, because I want your folks to know. Now, of course, they can join the club for $1, and you'll have your own link for that, which you'll share, which is getfreshlongevity.com. And that's not on our website. It's only for your people. They can try the oil for $1 in their home, and they can do their own taste test. They can pull what they have in their pantry out and taste it against one of our fresh pressed olive oils, because I want them to have that same moment that I had in Sicily. I want them to have that and to really understand and taste the difference. But let's talk about the taste difference real quick. So we're going to taste one of these oils together. This is the Denise Langevin. This is from Chile, fresh harvest, Southern Hemisphere, not Italian. It's from Chile, because that's where the oil's fresh right now.
It smells so good.
I'm putting about a tablespoon in my cup.
I'm putting about it's, I don't know if it's a tablespoon, but I'm using a ceramic spoon.
I love it.
I would like to invite you to, while we're doing this, and we're going to go over by a couple of minutes.
Good. Okay. You're okay with that. Okay, good. Okay, good. I love it. Good.
You discouraged me from using a metal spoon to do this. So I'd like to invite you to share with the audience why, and also talk to us about the olive oil in those big metal containers?
Yeah, stainless steel is great. I mean, they were using clay in the past, and clay was not very good. Stainless steel is the way to go. It's
Okay,
perfect.
good.
Now, as far as metal spoons go, professional tasters, we taste out of blue glass. Color is not an indicator of olive oil quality. People say, oh, it's really green. That must mean it's good.
Oh.
Well, the counterfeiters know that. So guess what they do? They add chlorophyll to the olive oil, and then consumers think, oh, that's a good olive oil. No, olive oil quality has nothing to do with color. So as a professional taster, we taste out of these beautiful blue cups that essentially disguise the color. And the shape of the cup brings about all these defects that you would find in the olive oil. So we taste for defects. But these oils, our club oils, are 100% extra virgin, third party certified by the top Italian lab in 2 ways. They go through a tasting panel, which certifies them as extra virgin and not having any defects. And 2, by chemistry, where they look at polyphenols, bitterness levels, fruit quality, all that sort of thing. So there's 2 levels of certification that the club oils go through from wherever we get them. So we taste, professional tasters, I mentioned in a blue cup, but just for demonstration, I'm just going to use a clear cup. So so put your hand on the bottom of the spoon, because the goal here is to warm the oil. So what we're doing here, before we taste any olive oil, we do a nose assessment on the oil. So I'm warming up the oil. I'm moving it around here, if you see the photo. And then I'm slowly going to remove my hand, and I'm going to take a whiff. And what now this is the mild oil. So this has got like soft things like baby lettuces, some herbs, a little bit of grass or hay. Like it's just sweet, kind of banana. I get a banana aroma out of it, like a green banana. But your olive oil should not smell like waxy crayons or anything that's rancid. It should smell fresh and alive. It should smell like your hands when you've been playing in the garden, rubbing, tomato plants and grass and, like picking leaves. That's what so fruitiness. Number 1 we're looking for is fruitiness. So this is what this smells like, is something fruity. Doesn't mean a fruit per se, but like, is it grassy? Is it herbal? Do you smell some fruit? So that's what we're looking for. Number 1, smell test. Okay. Number 2, we're going to take a small sip and we're going to roll it around on our tongue. So I probably I'm going to put about a teaspoon on my palate. I'm going to chew it. All right. What are we looking for here? We're looking delicious. We're looking pepper. Yes. So number 1 thing. Oh, here it comes. Excuse me. This is good though. This is good. It proves our point. Number 1, bitterness. You want bitterness. What does bitterness tell you? If your olive oil is not bitter, and when I say bitter, I mean overbrewed green tea. I mean walnut skin. I mean, bitter, like bitters. Overbrewed tea, bitters. Exactly. Like, the pit of a lemon, that's bitter. Okay. So bitterness tells you it's from green fruit. Okay. That tells you it's from high quality fruit. The green fruit, higher antioxidants, higher polyphenol. So that bitterness you will see on a lab report. Higher levels of bitterness are going to equal higher points when it comes to health benefits. Now, the next thing you want to look for is spiciness. What does spiciness tell you? Spiciness tells you it's fresh. If your olive oil isn't making you cough, Tuscans will say, is that a 1 cough oil, 2 cough oil, 3 cough oil, depending on the level of antioxidants and polyphenols in the oil, because it's from very green harvested fruit. So what are we looking for? Fruitiness, bitterness, spiciness. If your olive oil is not hitting those 3 marks, you're under where you want to be. So that's what you want to look for. I would be interested to know, like, Natalie, what would you use this one for in the kitchen? Do you have some thoughts?
I would use it for salad. I mean, I would just drizzle it on some veggies like asparagus, green beans. I mean, I have a tendency to make my own dressings, like I said earlier, and I keep it really simple. So my favorite dressing So my
Please.
favorite dressing is I'll take olive oil, I'll cut a clove of garlic in half because I don't like eating raw garlic, but I'll
Right.
cut a clove of garlic in half. I'll throw it in my olive oil with lemon juice and salt and pepper, and I'll let it sit for a little while.
Yes.
And then I'll use that as my dressing. And I just you can put it on fish, you can put it on veggies, you can put it on literally anything. And if you want to get fancy, you can do like some rosemary or some tarragon or.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
You're making me hungry. I haven't had lunch, but I love it. And I love the 2-stage way of using. So make that vinaigrette early. And I would, if I have a piece of fish or some veggies, I would dress it a little bit even before I cook it. And then reserve half my vinaigrette when it comes out of the oven and then, or salad, and then put a little of that on just before I serve it as well. You get like this double booster effect of like flavor. It's really incredible.
So I have a question for you.
Sure.
Sorry. So bitterness of this olive oil. So we talk about in nutrition land, we talk about having a bitter before a meal to stimulate the digestive enzymes and stimulate gastric juices. This counts, right? So this on arugula before a meal.
1,000%. Just a little sip of it in a little spoon. I don't like the metal spoon because it can play with the flavor of the oil that we're tasting. So I like something that's inert like this, a cup or a ceramic like that. And so yes, it absolutely acts as a bitter. High levels of satiety. You're going to feel much longer when you consume food. Like they've done studies where you could have a piece of bread with butter versus a piece of bread with olive oil. And the level of fullness you're going to feel is so much longer with the olive oil. Yeah. And so
that might be that GLP-1 connection again.
I think so.
I have to dig into that.
Yes. And I can't wait. I'm going to listen to that one too. And then, so these markers are different all over the world when it comes to microclimates, right? So these farmers have microclimates. So in olive oil, the next one we're going to taste is a Picual from Chile. This is our bold in the trio. And it's a lot of fun. You have fun with these oils. There are no rules. You can put what oil you like. It's like red wine with fish. You can absolutely do it. It's like there's no problem with that. I know. Isn't it
completely different?
Seductive, right? It's seductive. I know. Isn't that beautiful? I know. Even though I know it's not a quality marker, I know Picual, which is one of my favorite olive variety, imparts a lot of chlorophyll in the oil, and I just love it. And because this is one of my favorite varieties, this oil is destined to win top 20 in the world for next year's guide. I know it. So I'm going to do a smell test. I've got it in the cup. Let's see what you smell, Natalie. Let's give you a little.
So the last one was very grassy to me. I mean, it was really nice, but it smelled like fresh grass.
Mm-hmm. This one has that too, and a bit more of the arugula side. This may smell a little bit more like rubbed arugula or kale, darker.
Yeah, the challenge with the ceramic is it's harder to warm it. I should have been holding it in my hand before.
That's okay. Well, we wax on poetically and we give these descriptors because we're a group of professional tasters. But, at home, my family would be like, boy, beautiful green oil. It smells like grass, smells like arugula. It smells like fresh basil, smells like basil. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. But it's only olive oil and it's a single olive varietal. It's just perfectly made. And it's barely, the oil that was in the fruit hanging on the tree has barely changed between that and this. So let's do a little taste test on this one. This one's a little bolder, a little more bitter. You're going to see it start to come through.
It's definitely got a little kick.
It's got the kick of the bold oil. Absolutely. Today it's not hitting me quite as spicy as the first one. But it's definitely arugula, dark leafy greens, basil. This one people say has a lot of tomato bush. People think of like tomato. It's rich, but very clean. It's got an amazing personality. Like oils that I craft, I'm an ex-chef and I think of olive oils as a sauce, right? So I use the components I have in my grove to make an incredible oil, whether it's multiple olive varieties or this one, which is a single, but these are actually made up of two different oils that were harvested about a week apart. So one is more green and robust and the other is a little more fruity. So this Picual, I leverage there's these microclimates on these farms. Like, you're a student of terroir and about how that affects the, the flavor,
So
the sun,
yeah.
the soil, the sun exposure, the amount of water, all those things to make and craft an incredible olive oil. Like, that's our goal. So these are not commodity level olive oils. These are a totally different level. So I invite you to, get the bottle, try it at home. If you love it, we'd love to have you as a member. If you don't want to be, let us know within 2-3 weeks and you won't get your next shipment, or you won't get a shipment at all. There's no commitment to buy anything. Yeah. It's a real easy, I'm the owner of the company.
You're willing to put your money where your mouth is, so you're pretty confident.
Proof's in the pudding. I want you to taste it and love it, and I want you to try it on your food. And you're going to not only taste the difference, but you're going to feel the difference. Your bones are going to feel it. Your skin. You're going to look at how glowy you are. Your gut. You're like the gut brain connection is so strong, and getting, healthy gut is so important. And olive oil is something, high quality extra virgin olive oil is something that'll help you heal your gut as well. And even at the cell membrane, if you get to talk about that a little bit, on the cell membrane level and the way that the cell is built, it's surrounded by fat, and we consume all these bad fats that create disruptors between the cellular communication. Like, there's so much you can do by adding healthy fats into your diet. Put it in your smoothie, use it in your baking, use it in your vinaigrettes. You talked about vinaigrettes. Make your own at home. It's so simple. Don't buy bottled vinaigrette. They have bad fats. They have rancid fats. They have sugar. They have stabilizers. Do not use those in your home. Even in restaurants, we're like, can we have a couple extra lemons for our water? And my wife's sneaking in her bottle, and we're putting it we got our extra lemon, we got our salt at the table, and we got our olive oil. We're good to go. We avoid, a bunch of crap stuff by just, leveraging olive oil as your flavor carrier, because fat's where the flavor is.
For sure. And that is exactly it. And you said it earlier also, that healthy fats make other nutrients in the food more bioavailable. Like your vegetable, a lot of the nutrients in vegetables require fat, like vitamins and minerals require fat as transporters to get into the cell, which is what the liposomal supplement is all about. That's what a liposome is. It's essentially a little fat bubble that contains the nutrients. But the one question I wanted to ask you, just to help. So for people who maybe can't join the club right now, or whatever the case may be, do you have any tips for them on how to pick what would be the best olive oil? How do they choose an olive oil in a grocery store?
This
is the artisanal fancy stuff. So
yes. Dark bottle, freshness matters. Look for harvest date. Go to a place that has high turnover. Go to a place where you can taste the oil before you buy it. And we talked to the things you need to look for are fruitiness, bitterness, and spiciness. If you're not getting those three things, you're not getting a high quality olive oil. Unfortunately, olives are a fruit and a fruit juice. And just like we know from other crops, some years are good, some years are others. Some years are not. So I have the privilege of having a stable of producers in Italy or in Chile or in Australia. And if one grove's not having a good year, I pivot to another grove. So I have really the pick of the litter when it comes to picking the best of the best. So, people invest so much money in supplements, which, is fantastic, but a simple product like an olive oil is a supplement and something you use 3 times a day. I mean, we use it in our yogurt in the morning. We put it in our oatmeal. Like, we use it in everything. And you'll start to do the same as well, because you're going to feel like if you just eat, whatever you eat for breakfast, add a tablespoon or 2 of olive oil to it, and you're going to feel fuller and happier longer all day. You're going to be really surprised by this bitterness.
So there's a guy by the name of Joel Green who's really smart dude who's got a really cool, and he's so confident in the way that he coaches people on eating that he calls it the way. It's not the right way. It's not Joel's way. It's the way.
The way.
But one of the tricks he taught me, or he taught in his course that I learned from him, was taking a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil and putting it in your protein shake in the morning, which he talks about for satiety. And at the time I was like, ew, that sounds disgusting. Why would I do that? But you know what, guys, try it out. You'll number one, as TJ is saying, you'll never go back, because it'll help you to stay fuller. But I think it's that GLP-1 thing that's being activated, and you won't taste it. It gives it actually gives a tiny taste, but it enhances more than anything. Like you won't be able to pick it out. So don't worry. Just give it a try.
Yes.
Yogurt, maybe you'll taste it more. Maybe that's more of an acquired taste.
No. Well, in Italy, they put it over vanilla ice cream for dessert. Now we're not talking about any crap. We're not talking about any crap olive oil you pick up at the grocery store here. We're talking about a fruit juice, a sauce. Olive oil is a fruit juice, and it needs to be treated as such. So it's like buying pasteurized Tropicana in a can versus fresh squeezed orange juice. Like these are the two, people say, well, what's the difference between fresh pressed versus regular olive oil? Well, olive oil is like dried herbs that you're used to. You're buying at the store, McCormick, and fresh pressed olive oil is fresh herbs you've picked out of your garden. You feel the spiciness, you feel the bitterness, you feel the flavor, you feel the antioxidants that are in those fresh picked herbs. Well, that's the difference between a standard olive oil, commodity level olive oil versus a very high level artisanal olive oil. So that's where we focus on. That's the camp we live in, and just leverage it and love it. You're just gonna start using it everywhere.
I have last question.
Yes.
Okay, and this is a personal question. We've gone way over time, but I can't help it.
I know.
So sometimes you find olive oil in the store, and I have a feeling I know what you're going to say about this, but unfortunately it's in a clear bottle, and they put it in a clear bottle because they want you to see that it's cloudy, because they're saying.
I'm so happy you asked this question. I love it.
Talk to me about that. Talk to us about that.
That is unfiltered olive oil.
Yeah.
So I told you about a tasting panel in Italy. If you were to buy that and you were to put it on in a tasting glass, the first thing they're going to say is defective. There's a defect in there. So what is in there is water. What's floating in the bottle is water, vegetable yeast, and it basically sinks to the bottom and starts fermenting. And then you create fermentation inside your olive oil. Absolutely do not want it. Would be considered not extra virgin. It would be good for a month. Like they celebrate Novello and this fresh olive oil season, the way we do cider in the US, they do in the Mediterranean.
Right.
But that oil is unfiltered, and they would use that within a month. After that, they consider it no good because it's defective. Yes, in the US, fancy bottlers are selling it, and it's unfiltered olive oil, and it would immediately be thrown out by the lab and not be considered extra virgin after a month or two, which we know if it's slow boat from wherever, it's not going to be good. No one's flying olive oil in the belly of jets, except for me. I'm the crazy person that will do that because my folks are in it for health benefits. Like we want the healthy stuff. So I pivoted from the foodie world to the health world about 10 years ago because I recognized all the science catching up with olive oil. All these people who were joining my club, they weren't foodies. They were like health nuts. And I'm like, okay, this is a totally different audience. And I love this. This fits into my family and what we need and for our health benefit. So yeah, it's been a really exciting journey. And I really appreciate, these small family producers I work with. They really appreciate the support that you're giving us and helping them, get their best olive oil in the world in front of people who really appreciate it, love it, use it, and need it, because we have really poor quality diets in general in America. So, giving people access to something this special is just really special. So thank you.
I love it. Thank you. Well, okay. So quick fire. And I would include a tablespoon of your extra virgin olive oil first thing in the morning as a way to start your day, but just as a supplement, right? This is your supplement. And then take a couple of supplements with it, especially if they're fat soluble. But TJ, give us quick fire, 3 to 5 ways to consume your fresh pressed olive oil. Go.
Oh, so very simple. Set your table with it. You're going to start drizzling it on everything. Absolutely, any kind of salads you talked about, replace crappy dressings. Use it in 2 ways. Use it as a marinade and then use it as a finishing. So that's a really quick one. Roast simple vegetables. Put it on fish. When you take something off the grill or out of the oven, put it on a plate. Let it rest a little bit before you serve it. Drizzle it with a little olive oil. Let the olive oil soak into it so it really absorbs the olive oil. And then on the plate, you have this beautiful sauce that was just made for you, that once you slice the chicken, you ladle that over top. It's like heaven. And the good olive oil replaces so many things in the kitchen. You don't need a million spices. You don't need a million herbs. You just keep it very simple. High quality olive oil is the sauce that Mother created for you that you didn't even know existed.
Love it. Thank you so much, TJ. Once again, guys, if you decide that you want to try this out, all you have to do is go to Fresh Press. Is it Fresh Press Longevity? Did I mess it up?
Get Fresh Longevity. GETFRESH longevity.com. And that's you can't just go to the website. It's only for your people. So I can't do this for everyone, but it's $1. You try, you get a full size bottle, you enjoy it in your kitchen. Let us know if it's not for you, or no problem at all. We'll see you later. But, anyway, you're going to love it. You're going to recognize the difference immediately. You're going to feel it, and we'll appreciate your support. So thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, TJ.
Same here. Ciao.
Hey folks, just a quick reminder that all of the information presented in this podcast is for information purposes only. No medical advice, no diagnosing, no treatments suggested here. Before you try anything that you hear about or learn about here, make sure that you check with your medical provider.